A phone is stolen every 6 minutes in London, and unfortunately, last Thursday, I happened to be one of those victims. Phone theft in London is becoming a sinister epidemic. It's sneaky, it's swift, and it's shockingly common. With these thieves now striking out in broad daylight and using increasingly bold tactics when targeting their victims, no one is safe from this. This story I'm about to tell you is becoming all too common in London, and having personally fallen victim to this exact same target just last week, I can personally attest that it happens in the blink of an eye. Adana Turkish with Fusion in Bethnal Green issued a warning to customers after someone came into their restaurant, targeted a group of customers, sat down at a table with a piece of paper which they put on the table and swiped the phone unsuspectingly before then just leaving the restaurant. The restaurant released CCTV footage of a man boldly walking into their restaurant just before 10 p.m. on a bank holiday Monday, where he is seen to target a table of 3 sat down at this restaurant. The footage, shown from different angles, reveals the man wearing a cap approaching a table near the restaurant's entrance while holding a piece of paper. He then positioned the paper over a phone on the table, discreetly swiping the device without the customers noticing. According to the restaurant, the man had written a message on the paper about needing help, using it as a distraction to divert the customer's attention. After stealing the phone, he leaves the restaurant and is allegedly picked up by a car that is waiting outside for him. Now, all of this would have happened before the customers even realised what he had done. Adana then asked for social media users to share the footage to make people aware of thieves operating in the area. Describing the incident, the restaurant said, "Last night, a man came into our restaurant and stole a customer's phone. He distracted the customer with a piece of paper which read something along the lines of, 'He needs help,' etc. He had a car waiting outside, and as soon as he exited the shop, he got in the car and drove off. This was fully organised and they must be doing it regularly. Please be vigilant and mindful of your belongings, and please share with friends and family." Now, this exact same tactic was used on me only a few days before. So I was in Tottenham Court Road in a Starbucks just working on my laptop, and I too was actually sat at a table quite near the front entrance, which also happened to these customers at the restaurant we just discussed. So I'm sat on my laptop, I'm working remotely, when all of a sudden this man comes out of nowhere right towards me and starts shaking a newspaper in my face and speaking in a foreign language that I can't understand, and just starts pointing at different things on this newspaper. And I'm very confused. This all happens extremely fast, and I'm thinking, is he trying to sell me something? What is he trying to do? So I immediately just start saying quite loudly, "Please go away, no thank you, get off me." And he's still shaking this newspaper. He's not taking no for an answer. But then all of a sudden, he just charges off. And within a matter of seconds, I look down and I realise my phone was gone. And I run straight outside thinking, can I find him? And he's nowhere to be seen. Now, bear in mind, I'm in the middle of a Starbucks cafe where it's very busy, quite packed, in the middle of the day with lots of people about, and this still happened within a matter of seconds. So it doesn't matter where you are, they will target you if they think they can get away with it, and in that case, they did. Or so they thought. Fortunately, I had Find My iPhone enabled on my phone, and several hours after my phone was stolen, me thinking I'm never going to see that again, a new address got tracked in Ilford, and it was conveniently not too far from where my dad was working at the time. Now, the common consensus in London is once your phone is lost or stolen, you are never going to see that again, and I'd have fully accepted that myself, especially since nearly half of phone thefts reported to the police are simply just screened out, because the authorities seem to do very little when it comes to those phone thefts. Once your phone is gone, it's gone. And that is the sad reality of being in London, that anyone could be a target, even if it's the middle of the day, right in public with lots of people around you. anyone can be a victim of this. Now, fortunately, my dad, he drove to the address, he took a risk because you don't know what's going to happen when you drive up and you knock on the door asking for the phone back. Now, fortunately, they cooperated and I did get my phone back. So I was extremely lucky in that circumstance. But for many people, once their phone is stolen there, you are never going to get that back. I've also seen testimonies as well when other people have Find My iPhone enabled, that when a new address has cropped up, that they've reported it to the police and they've not actually been able to have the resources to go to the address and seize the phone for themselves. Now, interestingly, many victims who never recovered their stolen phones reported that their devices were traced all the way to China and often to the same city, Shenzhen. In fact, most of these victims discovered that their phones were tracked to a specific street, Huata South Road, known as China's Silicon Valley.
In this area, there are many second-hand electronics shops, where hundreds of used phones are laid out for sale, and other electronic items, from processors to screens, are sold in abundance. A Sunday Times investigation found that stolen mobile phones are traded for anything from $85 to $970 in these shops.
Many stolen phones end up here because after they are taken, victims will typically lock their devices, making it very difficult to unlock and resell them under the UK security measures. However, in China, it is much easier to unlock these devices, restore them to factory settings, and then sell them on the second-hand market. It's clear that this isn't just a matter of petty crime. This is a sophisticated operation that exploits the vulnerabilities of everyday people just trying to get about their lives and capitalises off the lack of urgency from the police, who do very little, if not anything, to respond. This is a lucrative market for criminals operating the smuggling business on a global scale from one end of the world to another. I strongly believe that it is time for phone theft to not just be seen as some minor inconvenience, and that we actually recognise it for what it is. This is a global criminal enterprise that preys on people's complacency and depends on lack of action, lack of follow through for this to continue to happen. These gangs will unfortunately continue to profit from our losses, one stolen phone at a time.